Now, has the humble wristwatch had its day, or does new technology mean that the craftsmanship and design that goes into watchmaking is more important than ever?
Well, our next guest probably agrees that watchmaking is alive and well. Brian Duffy is the chief executive of Aurum Holdings. Now, it runs a luxury and jewellery store, including Watches of Switzerland and Goldsmiths and Mappin and Webb. Now, it operates 139 shops across Britain and employs more than 1,500 people. It also has plans to expand into the US and Europe.
They are also currently the Crown jeweller and have a royal warrant from both the Queen and Prince Charles as goldsmiths and silversmiths. The average timepiece costs around £10,000. If you prefer in dollars, that's around $15,000. And the group is Britain's biggest distributor of Rolex, Patek Philippe, Jaeger LeCoultre and also Cartier watches.
Well, just to give you an idea, the global jewellery and watches market had a total revenue of $290 billion in the last year. That represented a growth rate of nearly 7% between 2010 and 2014.
Well, I'm not wearing a watch today. I was just too ashamed. Here's Brian Duffy, Aurum Holdings Chief Executive. Thank you so much for coming in.
Nice to be here.
Before we talk about watches, let's just find out how you got into this business, because you've been working in the realm of luxury goods for some time. But when the luxury goods player Ralph Lauren knocked on your door, you're actually on a career break studying rock and roll.
Yes, I was. I was at the Academy of Contemporary Music in Guildford, doing rock and roll and blues and jazz, and doing something I'd always wanted to do, and really study and learn guitar and music.
And Ralph Lauren came knocking. And your reaction was?
It was the irresistible knock, really. I've always loved Ralph Lauren. There was a lot happening. I effectively became the first president for Europe. It's a big new beginning for the brand. So, right place, right time, and an irresistible knock on the door. But I did regret not finishing my degree.
So let's talk watches, because it's an industry, as we said, an age-old industry. But now we're talking about high-end luxury watches, $10,000, $15,000. These are not just timepieces, are they? These are things that you inherit, they're things that you pass on to generations beyond you, and it's about an investment, not necessarily the product.
Yes, they're all of that. They're wonders of mechanical craftsmanship at the end of the day. They're precious materials. They are family heirlooms. They work every minute of every hour of every day of every year for your life and hopefully the life of generations to come. And they're beautiful things to have, to appreciate.
How do you convince people to part with that sort of cash? I imagine in a market or in an environment where, you know, the recession has taken its toll on some of the luxury goods makers, in markets that are slowing down, particularly China, and there's always been demand for luxury goods there. How do you convince people to part with the cash for something that will live well beyond them?
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I think everybody wants, and I'm sure I could convince you if I had the time, I could convince you to buy into a luxury watch. They are wonderful things to have. I call it rational indulgence, because you don't need it to tell the time. Your phone can tell you the time, or something much less expensive. But it's rational in the sense that you're taking the money out of the bank and you're putting it on your wrist. They don't depreciate, generally. Values do go up over time. They're made of precious materials, which of course, you know, have gone up a great deal recently. And it's a wonderful thing to have and enjoy, and to think about passing it on to the next generation.
And when it comes to that persuasion, how important are, you know, the marketing side, i.e. the likes of George Clooney and other big international stars becoming the face of a brand? I know Omega is Omega, should I say, is the watch that 007 is wearing in Spectre, and you were at the premiere because your company's involved in that process. I mean, how important is that to the sales?
Yeah, marketing is very important. Like any luxury branding, the image, the association that you want to have. It can be through celebrity endorsement, it can be through a great deal of sports endorsement, Rolex visibility at Formula 1, for example. So obviously marketing is important for those brands that have, you know, global reach and global importance. Some brands are very niche and actually trade on their discretion and the fact that you have to go and find them and you have to go and get the expertise that can lead you to them.
And you've just been with Aurum for 2 years, is that correct? So prior to that it was Ralph Lauren for 10. What difference have you seen in terms of how to sell? Because is it easier to sell a luxury watch in this environment than, say, Ralph Lauren clothing?
Yeah, well, I think it is. I do think that with a cooling of the global economy, in particular the emerging market economy, people are thinking a bit more about value. We can offer value, as I say. I think you can take the view that there really are financial investments. That's a tougher argument if you're talking about fashion or accessories or high heels.
So interesting, isn't it, when a smartwatch does a million things, and we're talking about a watch that simply tells the time, maybe the date too, but nonetheless still hold their value.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Brian, so interesting to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, my pleasure.
But we've ran out of time.